Theresa Rowe has been a licensed fitness trainer for over 25 years. She's found 10 secrets to strengthening her body and soul, and yours too. She shares them in her new book, Shaped by Faith, 10 Secrets to Strengthening Your Body and Soul. Theresa, you've come all the way from Kentucky.
I have.
The Blue Mountains?
The green state,
Are
bluegrass state.
Bluegrass?
Yes.
Oh.
Everything's green. It's absolutely gorgeous, but it's pretty here too.
Well, we're glad
I
to
love
have
it here.
you. And
thanks for having me.
Guidepost magazine
Yes.
asked you to write this book.
Guideposts. Yes, they did.
I mentioned the magazine because we all know that.
Right. Well, they came across my website, and I thought they were interested in my DVDs. I had a Pilates for the Soul DVD out, and so I sent them the DVD. Very interested in it, and they said, have you ever thought about writing a book before? And I said, well, I write an article for our newspaper, and I've written a few things here and there, but never a book, and so I said, sure. So there's the book.
Wow, it's a surprise. I mean, all the exercises are in here. I'm just going to open to a page with a picture here. Here you are with the famous ball.
My favorite piece of equipment, the stability ball.
The stability
Absolutely
ball.
love it. It's all about the core and all about your upper body strength with the ball and the lower body.
But I just flipped open and look at this page, Shaped by Prayer.
Yeah.
Rich spiritual journey and a dramatic testimony weaves through the practical help physically and spiritually. You didn't come by any of this simply. It's been a journey.
It doesn't seem like it's been a really hard road, but I guess if you mention things that have gone on in my life, you may think that, but I always look ahead. I always look at what God has for me in the future and what's going on the next day, and try not to think about you know, maybe things in the past that weren't so grand, maybe the surgeries that we may discuss, but I just look at it that the Lord strengthens us in whatever trials and tribulation comes our way, and it's made me stronger. It's made me who I am today. And thank goodness I was exercising the entire time. Thank goodness.
Yes.
God knew that I needed to be in this profession to keep my body alive as well.
Exactly. It probably saved your life.
I believe so.
More than just a strong handshake, as impressed Jim not too many minutes ago. You were adopted.
I was adopted.
Your parents adopted 4 children, actually.
They did.
We have a picture of, I guess, new baby coming home.
Yes. I was 6 weeks old.
There you are, a little bundle. And that's your mother,
That's
your
my adopted mother, yes.
And she sadly died very early.
She did. At the age of 14, she passed away. And
you were 14.
I'm sorry. Yes, I was 14, and so she passed away, and I was a sophomore going in my sophomore year at high school. So I just kind of raised myself. My dad worked full time. He was an airport manager, air traffic controller, so he was gone quite a bit. Very quiet man, very nice man, but just didn't say a whole lot, so I was sort of on my own there. Had a younger brother at home at the time, Paul, and then my 2 other siblings were older than me, so they were already out of the house by then.
We probably don't want to spend a lot of time here, but fear was part of the flavor for you in that growing up journey.
Yes.
Lots of tensions in that home.
I think there was, you know, and when I look back, I was afraid as a child. I had a lot of fear. My mother was very strict, and there's nothing wrong with that, but she was very strict. We didn't snack a lot. She was very strict about our food intake. So I guess as
2
a
meals
child,
a day?
yes, and no snacks. But you know, that's just the way she did things. And so there was fear in the household. And the church I was in, I just, as a little child, I questioned things in the church, and I questioned why, you know, why did I have to confess my sin to this person? Why can't I just go to God? So I questioned at a very young age.
So there was a spiritual root
There was.
there.
Yes.
You married very early.
I did. I became pregnant at a very early age. I was a freshman in college, married my high school sweetheart, and that lasted for about 3.5 years. It just was not, you know, a good thing. I did not want to give up my child for adoption. Did not. My father said I had to give up my child for adoption if I did not get married. We were not planning on getting married because neither one of us was ready, you know, for marriage. But we decided to get married because I didn't want to give her up. But I'm so glad, I'm so thankful that we got married. Yeah. And Christina is 28 years old right now, absolutely beautiful, expecting her first child. So excited about that.
You had one child in that first marriage?
Two children. Candace, she's 24, and she has a little boy, Wyatt, my first grandbaby.
That's all good news. We
still got good news.
We still got to plow through the
yes.
second marriage, which also lasted
three and a half
years.
Yes. That I met him out in Nebraska. He swept me off my feet. Wrong person. I was not following the Lord. I was not praying and seeking God's advice. Married the wrong person, and so that kind of ended up in a disaster. But from that marriage, I have twin sons who are now 18, and I would not trade them for anything. They're just the joy of my life. They just are.
Now, some of the color commentary in the motherhood journey, actually first, I think you were just divorced when you had your first near-death experience.
Right, right.
Tell us about it.
Okay, I was 24 years old when I went through my first open heart surgery. At the age of 23, I was teaching fitness classes and teaching modeling out in Nebraska, and I noticed I had shortness of breath and I was dizzy. So I went into the doctor for about a year and told them repeatedly, there's something wrong. When you exercise, you have an awareness about your body. You have an awareness about there's something not right. And so I kept telling them this, and they said, well, if you can teach all of these exercise classes, and if you can work full-time, you know, you're fine, you have PMS. You know, or you're stressed out. So repeatedly.
You were sent home a number of times.
Yes.
And I think some of them thought it was.
They thought I should see a counselor or a psychiatrist. They did. They suggested that very strongly. Finally, my friend at the time, she took me to a different hospital, and they said, we don't think there's anything wrong with you. Your heart looks absolutely perfect, because they ran an EKG and the heart rhythms at the time looked perfect. But they did run an echocardiogram and they found a hole in the heart and didn't believe it. They did a heart cath, still didn't believe it. They thought there was something on the film or something had messed up. So they ran a second heart cath and they said, you could go into cardiac arrest, okay? You have a hole in the heart, the hole that's dangerous, and you need to get it closed up quickly. So I went through open heart surgery at 24. And everything was fine after that, for 20 years.
You know, most Saturday mornings, I do cardio boot camp.
Yes.
And I'll say to my husband, honey, you will not believe what I actually do on Saturday morning. You would be so impressed. It's a killer.
It is.
And that's just one of the things that you taught for years.
Yes.
On top of modeling yourself and training models and a very stressful, busy schedule, but also a physically very demanding, sweated out schedule. And that your body sustains you with a hole in your heart. How do they explain that?
They can't. They really cannot. The doctors in 2007, when I went through my second open heart surgery because the patch had come loose, they could not explain it whatsoever. Now, they said I had the strongest effective heart they had ever witnessed. And they